Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Attempted Optimism Podcast, where we're just trying our very best. I'm Justin.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Brian.
And we are...
Again.
Oh, my gosh. And I just want you to know that your intro was exceedingly more over the top than it normally is. I just want that to be...
for it.
Yeah, you really did. So, as you see, we have Brian back with us this week. So we are going to be doing a Two Truths and a Lie reloaded version. We figured since we had so much fun last time, we are going to run it back. So that's the game we're going to be playing tonight. And if you want to keep score, you can. I think Brian's going to because he's competitive and he loves to win things. But I said... I was too lazy for that. So we're not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Justin looks lost already. He just woke up about 5 minutes ago. He's struggling in life right now. So, and that's not true, by the way. So we're going to start our game off tonight.
Wait. Which part of that's not true?
The part where you just woke up.
You're
definitely struggling in life.
That's the truth.
Yeah. So we are going to start with our first category, and I think our first category is going to be food. So I'm going to throw it over to Justin if he's ready to give us his two truths and a lie. Look, he's not ready.
He is ready.
All right.
I was just getting a sticky note.
Food category.
Food categories. Are we prepared?
No.
Are we ready to go?
Probably not. Let's do
I just
it
need
anyway.
it because I had a glare in my glasses.
Okay.
And I was desperately trying to figure out a way to get that not on there.
Yeah,
anymore.
it's not happening.
All right. Food. Pardon me while I look at my other monitor. Here's my two truths and a lie. Let's see if you can figure it out. Number one, I have eaten an entire 3-pound hamburger and fries.
Okay.
That's one meal.
Mm-hmm.
I have eaten... I don't know why I had to specify that. I have eaten a 72-ounce steak for a challenge.
Okay.
I have eaten an animal considered to be a household pet.
Okay, I'm going to start our timer. Remember,
I went big this time.
We have 1 minute to try to ask him some questions. Once the 1 minute is up, we have to make a decision on what we think is the truth or the lie. So I'm going to start the clock. Brian, you got any questions for him to start off?
I feel like I want to debunk the household pet because I feel like if you eat a rabbit, that's an easy way to get around that. I think that's possible.
It's definitely not that one, and here's why.
It can't be that one.
Do you know how I know this? Because I know that he went to Ecuador, and I know that he ate a gerbil, because that's something that they regularly eat in Ecuador. And it would be rude not to eat it. So he definitely did that. So it's
Are we able to ask him questions? Is that what this is for?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the design. I don't know what Ben's trying to do.
Because we're just like...
I already know all his answers.
No, it's got to either be the hamburger or the steak.
Did you finish the steak? That's what I need to know. Because you can attempt to eat 72 ounces is a lot.
I finished every meal.
That was so unspecific. I finished every meal. Okay.
I finished every meal.
Where was the hamburger and fries from?
Hamburger and fries was from a place called Charlie Bob's in Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey,
Where was the
Charlie
steak
Bob.
from?
Fun fact,
Where was the steak
no
from?
longer there. They went out of business. What's the what?
Where was the steak from? Because that was my last
Amarillo,
question.
Texas.
Okay.
The Big Texan, Amarillo, Texas.
I gotta vote for the steak. It's just so big. Like, I know that those challenges exist and it would be fun, but like to actually finish it, that...
I'm gonna go with the steak as well. Even though he's lived in both of those places, I cannot imagine somebody eating 72 ounces of steak in one city. And if
Props
they
to you
did,
if you did. Holy cow!
Congratulations! You should.
What an animal!
Definitely be on a picture on a wall somewhere. I hope you are.
As long as it's the right picture on the right wall, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. So what is your truths and lie? Which one?
Well, I'm off to a bad start because you both got it right. I have eaten a 3-pound hamburger. It took me an hour and a half.
Ugh, that sounds
and
terrible.
I got a T-shirt that I couldn't fit into afterwards.
Imagine that.
I have eaten an animal considered to be a household pet. It was not a gerbil. It was a guinea pig.
Same thing. They're all
and they
animals.
call it, in Ecuador, they call it cuy. And I wasn't sure how much you listen to our conversation sometimes, and so I just threw that one in there.
Me?
That was more of a litmus test of
I'm a great
friendship.
listener. I'm just
You
not,
just loaded
I'm just
that
not
one
a
in there
great
to-
carer. I listen.
like it.
I listen excellently. I just don't care that much.
He lives on the edge.
Yeah.
The 72-ounce steak, I 100% could do it. I absolutely could do it. Yes,
72
I
ounces?
absolutely could do. Yes.
Is
yes.
it like an 8 ounce of normal?
I easily did it like a 48 ounce steak.
You're gonna make me sick.
With nothing.
That's like still like double.
I make myself sick. It's gross. But the thing about it is, I went to the Big Texan and I was gonna do the 72 ounce steak.
That's disgusting.
But the steak was disgusting. It was
Mm-hmm.
so bad that I wasn't going to force feed myself 72 ounces of steak of bad steak that wasn't very good.
Well, I feel like you should, if you actually believe that you could do that, I feel like you should have like a podcast in the field day where you go out and make it happen.
Yeah.
We call it man versus food.
No, that's definitely copyrighted. All right.
We could workshop it. We could workshop it.
We just lost everything that we could have had on this podcast. Okay, Brian, your turn. 2 truths and a lie.
This category is food. And background on me, I consider myself the least picky eater of all time. Yeah. And so it's really hard for me to have like facts of like I like or don't like that. Mm-hmm. So my 2 truths and a lie are all the exact same statement. You just have to pick out the lie.
Okay.
Or hold on 1 second.
He made that up.
He put 2 lies.
I did it backwards. I did 2 lies and a truth. We're gonna do it. It's fine. Just find the lie. Here it comes.
We get a 50-50 or a 66% chance.
No, I'm gonna update it, so it will still just be one lie.
Okay.
The best meal I ever ate was a luau in Hawaii. The best meal I ever ate was a Cajun crawfish boil in Louisiana. The best meal I ever ate was crab cakes in Massachusetts.
I'm gonna be upfront with you. I didn't know you'd been to any of those places, so I'm already at a loss. Let me start the timer. All right, Justin, what questions do you have?
My question's for Ben. Ben, has he ever been to Hawaii?
Out of every one of those that he said, Hawaii is the only one that I went, yeah, he's probably been there. Because, like, that sounds like a family vacation that people
Because he ain't going to New Orleans. Who goes to New Orleans?
No, for me personally, when I think about this, I go, when would he have ever gone to Massachusetts?
Well, but see,
at the same time, I don't know.
Eating crab cakes in Massachusetts, yeah, sure. Crawfish being the best meal you ever ate? No, sir. No, sir. Not even Cajun people say that. Crawfish. That's the lie.
Okay,
that's what I'm calling.
That's pretty fair because I really don't like crawfish at all. All right, so
crawfish is disgusting, and you're disgusting.
Let me interrupt.
That's the truth
because I changed the questions. I didn't think about the word "best" being in there. The word was the most disappointing meal that I've ever had. So one of these was terrible.
Probably the same, honestly.
So I'm trying to make it. So
you're going with crawfish?
I will spoil it and say that none of these 3 were the best meal I ever ate. So I've ruined the game already. But what you're looking for is which of these was the worst.
Okay.
One of these was terrible.
So it was...
I would say on a scale of disappointment, though, here, Ben, like going all the way to Hawaii, you're gonna do the luau. You know what I'm saying? And if that was not a great meal, if that was not worth going to Hawaii for, that's got to be the most disappointing thing in the world.
Man, this is hard. It's hard, bro.
I'm sitting here trying to read his face, and it's just not going anywhere.
You go with yours, and then I'll pick mine.
Now, what are you picking? I want to hear what you're picking.
I'm gonna go with the crab cakes in Massachusetts. I'm gonna go against my own judgment to go for that one.
Okay.
I bet it's that one too. I'm gonna go Hawaii.
Okay. Justin is correct.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Have you been to Massachusetts?
I have. I've been to all these places. Those are all real things that happened. The crab cakes in Boston were kind of a red herring. They weren't great. They had shell in them, but they were fantastic until I started biting into shell. But they were fresh and they were delicious. The luau, the pig was unseasoned. They just did a pig like in a fire pit with like nothing on it, so it was just like.
What?
And they didn't do it well. And they had told us the whole way while we were going to the luau like tables where you can. They were like, Hawaiians, we're big because we eat until we're tired, not until we're full. We just eat until we're physically tired. So just keep going back and getting more food. Just eat and eat and eat until you're full. And so there's like a spread of like fresh fruit and like all this kind of like native like poi and stuff like that they serve. And they were telling us the whole time before, they're like, poi is poisonous. It will hurt your throat. It'll make it scratchy if it's not cooked enough, but we cook it perfect. You're going to love it. So I got some poi. My throat was scratchy the whole time. The pork tasted like nothing. The fruit was flavorless. It was awful. I did not have a good time.
That's, you know what? I just feel bad for that. Yeah. I'm no longer happy I won because like going to Hawaii, that's got to be the highlight, I think.
And then
it's ruined. We had many good meals there, so don't feel bad. That was the one that was like, here's the luau day. This is going to be awesome. And
the one you think is going to be the best meal you ever have.
Okay, are we ready?
So that's a point for Justin.
I'm not keeping track of points, but I'm assuming Justin is now winning. No,
you guys both got mine, so
I'm winning.
Again, this is why I'm not keeping track.
I guess Tiz right, and I fooled you.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Okay, here are mine. Are we ready? The first one for my food category. I once threw up eating a coconut cream-filled donut because I thought it was regular cream. Number 2. The best pizza I have ever had in my life was in Italy. Number 3. I once drank 13 amp energy drinks in one night. Oh,
that's easy.
Hang on. Let me start the timer. Go ahead.
This is a 50-50 shot for me, Brian.
Yeah. I'm leaning towards the pizza because Italy, although, it's Italian, it's authentic. Are they really like, and we have the best pizza? You know what I'm saying? When did you go to Italy to get this pizza?
So it was in 2011 with Chris.
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't think of his last name, and I shouldn't say his last name on a podcast anyways. But
you're doxing people every time I join your podcast.
Is it the Chris I know?
2011 Chris is when we went to Italy, specifically Rome.
Actually, you know what, though? Hang on a minute. I think I'm getting it.
You got 15 seconds.
When we played this game the last time. I'm talking to Brian. I'm not talking to you.
Okay.
We played this game last time, and he gave us a red herring with the musical instruments and the girlfriend.
Yep.
He did. How many amped energy drinks did you say you had?
13.
He said 13.
He had 13 full throttles. Final answer.
Okay, so you've run out of time, so now you do have to make
monster.
a final answer. So you're going 13 full throttles.
I have never seen you drink anything, and the only other drink I've heard you speak about is Ball's energy drink.
Because we talked about it on that.
We talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
So I'm saying it's not 13 amps. It's 13. Which amps were good, by the way, but I think
they were
or something.
I respect it. The moment you said full throttle, I remember because every time we would run to QT, Ben, you'd always get a full throttle. That was your energy drink of choice. So I respect the snipe.
That is true.
I think I'm going to play the game like a sucker. I'm going to stick with my Italy answer because I think that this is possible. But I think if Justin, if you snipe this one, you might deserve 2. That was pretty good.
Okay,
that was pretty good.
So, I did once throw up eating a coconut cream donut. That's 100% true. And I don't like coconut at all. So like any kind of coconut flavoring or anything. And it was like the worst moment of my life. Because if you ever bitten into a donut and you're so excited and you get coconut cream and you think it's regular cream, that's one of the worst days of my life. But
that's true.
And the other truth is I did once drink 13 amp energy drinks in one night. It was arguably one of the worst nights that I've ever felt in my life. And that's why I don't drink amp anymore, because there's something really horrendous about drinking 13 amps in one night and then waking up the next morning.
That was just called a Halo party when I was in high school.
That's exactly what it was, Brian. It was a Halo party. Only we decided, because again, as a high schooler, you think you're cool. We decided to play amp pong. And when you're not very good at Pong, you drink a lot of amp. So that was 6 out of them, because I drank 6 full amps playing that game, and then you just keep drinking them. But the lie is the pizza in Italy. The best pizza I actually ever had was in London, and it was a guy who had come over from Italy. So him and his family had moved to London, opened an Italian pizza shop, and it was the best pizza I'd had ever. And the worst part was it was the day before we were leaving for Italy. So I was hyped. I'm like, this is what the pizza tastes like. It's going to be a dope trip. And then I got there and I was like, why is all this pizza not as good as that guy's pizza?
Hey, why does this suck, y'all?
Yeah. I'm like, you've ruined the experience.
Y'all are supposed to have this down.
For your entire trip in Italy, you were ordering pizza at every restaurant. They were going, what's wrong with this guy?
You know what's wild is that I didn't have... I should have put this one on there, but I didn't have one meal that was like incredibly enjoyable in Italy. Everything was very like, okay.
But the food in London, bro.
The food in London was like, take me to the next level. But
it was the first time in my life I had fish and chips.
Oh, so it was like an authentic experience.
It's the last time I ever thought this is the best fish and chips.
Exactly.
Because I've had it in the States, and it's like it's good.
Yeah.
But you can't compare to that.
Well, since we're talking about travel, we are going to move on to our next category, which is travel. So
what a segue!
Justin,
what a segue!
Yeah, I mean it could have been significantly better, but there it is.
Do you have a cool transition for us to go to travel?
No, it's me saying those words. I'll put a picture up, okay? You know what?
Low budget, holy cow!
You know what?
All right,
you edit these things, bro. You edit these things.
Hey, I'll do it, but
the low budget that I've been doing will make mine look very high budget compared to his.
Hey, let us know in the comments if you've been liking the thumbnails. We've been changing our thumbnail game
up. We've been doing some thumbnail
doing
work.
Some nutty jobs. Nope.
No.
Let's move on to travel.
He's been doing some great.
Ben's been doing the most good. He's trying his best.
Knock it off. Right. Go to travel.
Travel.
Two truths and a lie.
Travel, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do this. I have traveled to 3 different continents and 7 different countries. I wore a USA 4th of July t-shirt with a big old eagle on it to Westminster Abbey in England on July the 4th.
True.
I have never been further west than Amarillo, Texas.
Okay, so let me start the timer. The first question, second question. You said July 4th. You wore an American flag shirt to Westminster, right?
I think it was the weekend of July 4th.
Oh, okay, so you've already lied, is what you're telling me.
Well, it might be a lie of omission. No, wait. Yeah.
Okay, so that...
I don't remember the exact date.
Because you're just ruining my opportunity for a question. What year was that?
Oh, what was it? The 2013? It was when we had Congress. Do you remember when Congress? No, it wasn't 2013. I got commissioned that year. It was 2016. 2016.
Okay, Brian, you got any questions?
I think I have my guess. Okay. The second one is just something that Justin would do. Like, I just know his personality, and that's just, he's like...
Fly that flag, baby!
Like, let's do it for the photo op, let's do it for the story, and I'm out. Like, cool.
Okay.
I think I have my guess.
Okay.
Let me ask a question to make it interesting.
Yeah.
Remind me what the first one was. One time.
I have traveled to 3 different continents and 7 different countries.
What was your favorite continent to visit?
South America.
Okay. So this one's really hard for me because I know that he has been to at least 3 continents. North America, South America, and Europe. Europe. Is that the...
Europe?
Is that a continent? Am I losing my mind right here?
Europe is a continent, yeah.
The specific amount of countries is what's tripping me up because, I mean, he's trying to pull a bin and just throw out a number that we can't verify quickly. That's what I think he's doing. But also the second one seems very oddly specific.
It's super specific, but I mean, the story's in it. You know what I mean? Like, he did it for the story, and that's also why he shared it for the story.
I did it for the Vine.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Before Vine. Well, actually, that was right in the middle of Vine hype, wasn't it?
In the middle of Vine, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with number 2.
Peace,
I think number 2 is a lie. I think you're lying about the t-shirt. Don't go with number 3. I'm
going number 3.
Don't do that.
Doing number 3.
Okay.
All right. So, the lie is number 3, that I have never been further west than Amarillo. And I know that Ben's going to be upset with this.
I am upset because you just told me this.
I told you like a week ago that I hadn't. But then I was talking to my wife because she helped me with a couple of these. She was like, we took a day trip into New Mexico.
Bro, you know what's crazy is that you think you know people, and then when you're doing a live recording of a podcast, you find out that they're liars.
You also find out that he planted. He planted falsehood.
Not in a
I knew we were going to do it a week ago.
Wow. All right, I'm
planted
out.
Falsehoods.
It's been good. Attempted Optimism Podcast. Thank you for allowing me to host this with you. Brian is the new secondary host.
I won for the record. I won the game.
Brian is the new secondary host for this show.
You really nailed it, and I'm kind of pissed off that you did. But yeah, so we've been to Tucumcari, New Mexico, which is like 45 minutes across the border from Amarillo. It's like it's like an hour and a half from Amarillo, but it's 45 minutes from the border. I did wear a USA 4th of July T-shirt into Westminster Abbey because we went there for a Congress and we were sightseeing that day, and I think it was July 4th. And we walk into Westminster Abbey, and I didn't think anything about it because it's just, I'm an American. I didn't think anything about it. I'm ignorant, right? And we get into Westminster Abbey, and we're looking at the wall of graves, people that are buried there.
Oh, good.
And we get to the section of people that are buried from the Revolutionary War. And I looked at it and I went, huh. Oh, that's not. I
want to say three things. Three things before.
That's a really bad taste.
Three things before we move on from this section. First, the fact that you owned a shirt like that, in and of itself, is disappointing.
I was given it by one of my core members, one of my church members,
one
of my
it's my turn to talk. Secondly, the fact that you let your wife let you wear that out in public in England is a travesty that we need to talk to her about.
The whole group of us had one on. The whole group of us had one on.
You're just making this so much worse.
It's super messed up, and I'm really impressed about it.
And the third thing is, I am taking a point for that because you lied just a week ago to me about this subject. Put it down, Brian. That's a free point. Free point for me.
You're mad because we're playing Two Truths and a Lie, and I lied to you?
A week ago, not on this show. A week ago.
I didn't know a week ago.
Right, Brian,
big facts.
Put a point down for me. Brian, let's move on to you before we.
I gave you half a point.
Thank you.
And I have been to 7 countries.
Nobody's interested.
Ecuador, Antigua, Haiti, Mexico, Bahamas, England, and
We're not interested. I'm trying to stay optimistic. Let's move on.
All right.
You failed.
Category 2 is travel. I have a special theme for you guys. I have a mode of transportation and a location for each of these. So, spot the lie. And I did this one right. So, hey.
How did you get one wrong and then do the others right?
I did that one last. I couldn't figure out food because I'm not a picky eater. I eat everything. Okay.
All right.
Number 1. I have driven a scooter in Mexico. Okay. Number 2. I have flown a plane in Oklahoma. Number 3, I have ridden a horse in Jamaica.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think you rode a horse. I think you rode a donkey because that was very common in the Caribbean when I was there.
I'm going to be honest. I don't know anything about these this time around. I feel like I'm just on a different planet. You said all those questions and I thought to myself, I don't know anything about this guy.
Somebody let you fly a plane?
Never met this man.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with.
You can ask questions. You guys got 60 seconds.
I don't care. I don't know any. I don't know what I would.
He's wounded and vulnerable.
I don't know what I would ask you to help me. He's
ready to quit.
What kind of plane did you fly?
It was like a small little Cessna style. Like it was 2 seats in the front and a bench in the back.
And who let you fly that plane?
It was a man named Andy. To protect his identity, I'll call him Andy Fu Manchu because he had this awesome mustache, Fu Manchu.
Did you work for Andy?
What's that?
Did you work with or for Andy?
No, I did not.
How'd you end up on a plane with him?
So he was getting his pilot's license. He was training to get his commercial pilot's license.
Neither one of you had the license?
And he looked at me and he said, I owe you a plane flight, don't I? And I said, yes, you do. And we flew.
What? Was there a licensed person on the flight?
There's a reason he's keeping this story confidential because this man would lose his license at this point. Okay. I'm going to go with...
license. Your commercial pilot's license to fly like big planes.
Yeah.
You have to log a certain amount of hours flying small planes. He's meant to do that.
The crashable ones.
Right. And the ones with randos on it like me.
I'm going to lock my answer in.
They needed you for the certain weight class to keep the plane in the air?
That's what it was.
You said a moped in Mexico?
A scooter?
That's the same thing.
I'm going with the horse story. I think it's a donkey because I rode a donkey in Antigua.
I'm going scooter in Mexico. I genuinely don't know at this point.
Okay.
Mexico seems a little dangerous.
The lie is riding horses in Jamaica.
Oh my gosh. gosh. I'm like 0
was it a
for
donkey?
19.
No, I didn't ride anything in Jamaica. On my honeymoon, horse tours were offered, and my wife really wanted to do one, and we didn't end up doing it. But it was something that was offered. I could have.
You went to Jamaica for your honeymoon?
I did.
I'm going to be honest, I really don't know much about you. And you're married to my sister, so.
That's true.
I had a lot going on in life in that time. Okay.
The plane thing is totally true. I was going to college in Bartlesville at the time, and Andy looked at me one day and was like, "Hey, you owe me I owe you a plane flight, don't I?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Where do you want to go? We can fly, anywhere within a certain amount of miles of here." And he was like, "Have you ever been to Bartlesville?" I was like, "Been there. I go to college there." And he's like, "All right, take me there and tour me around." So we flew down there, and while we were up in the sky, he was like, "Your plane." Like, he took off and landed for me, but he just gave me the controls.
You better put your hands back on the wheel.
No. It was terrifying.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Plane.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. I'm done with that at that point. I go straight like this.
The scooters in Mexico, there are too many stories to tell, but it was awesome. It was like one of the best days of my life. Riding scooters around the beaches in Mexico. It was awesome.
Dope. Who could have known you'd been to Mexico? I mean, let's be honest. What do we really know about this guy? Who is this guy? How'd he get on the podcast? Okay, over to me. Are we ready?
We're ready. I'm so ready.
Treble. Number 1. I was detained in the Cuban airport by security.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2. I walked around the entire Vatican because I couldn't find the entrance. Number 3. I was harassed by a man in London who wanted to fight me because I was American.
A guy where?
In London.
Yeah, no, that's 100%.
Okay.
I need to know more about.
Start your timer.
I need to know more about the Vatican City story. So
long walk, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a long walk.
Well,
it's a long walk.
So, leading up to being at just outside the Vatican, how did you get dropped off on the wrong side of it? How did you find yourself on the wrong side?
So this was a long time ago. I'll just put that out there. This was 2011. So it's been 9 years. But from my recollection, I was coming up to the Vatican and I hadn't eaten. So I was like, I didn't know what part of the Vatican I was at, but I was like, man, I need to grab something to eat first. So I just typed in like McDonald's on my phone and went to a McDonald's and got something to eat. When I left the McDonald's, I was like, there's got to be a bunch of entrances to this place because it's huge. So I just start walking, and I can't find an entrance. I'm like, I bet if I just keep walking this direction, I'm going to find one. And I kept walking and walking, and I was like walking through people's neighborhoods, and like cars are flying past me, and I'm like,
you walked past Korg.
This is a very long walk, I
walked
all the way to
the opposite direction of where he had come from.
I just kept walking.
How many entrances are there to the Vatican?
There's one giant one, I think, and then there's like a small side one right next to the one giant one. Because like there's a big giant one like that you can basically see like all the way to Rome. It feels like you can see all of Rome from it. And then there was like a little tiny like side entrance that just comes into the same courtyard. So yeah, it was a long walk. I don't even know how long it was, but it was a long walk. I'll give you a second for another question since I took up a long time on that story. If anybody has one.
This one's tough.
I don't even think the London one, that's probably true. Let's be honest.
Okay.
Well, here's the one question I'll ask.
Okay.
Where in London were you accosted for being an American?
So again, this is 2011. All right, this is a long time ago. I want that to go on the record.
Sure.
I was coming out of a nightclub because it had just closed, and there was a giant group of people who were all exiting the club at the same time, and he got a little rowdy when he heard my accent as we were exiting the club. So
a little rowdy.
Was he a hooligan?
Little rowdy. I mean, I don't know. Again, I'm not trying to say too much about my experience here, but I wasn't quite in my right state of mind, okay? So I couldn't tell you if he was a hooligan or not. What I can tell you is I shouldn't have been out that late in London at a nightclub with the amount of drinks that I had had as a young man. But I got a cab.
I like that that's the point you want to get across. This was years ago, people, please.
This was 9 years ago. So.
What was the first one?
I was
Cuba
detained.
Airport.
I was detained in the Cuban airport by security.
Oh, see, that sounds legit too.
I know, they're all believable. As much as I want I think if I have to cast my vote, I think I'm going Vatican City. I think even though you told a good story, I think that's a lie.
Okay. Justin?
I think we're talking about coming down to like instances of the question. Every single story has truth in it.
Okay.
And so something is in the details. I think whichever lie is in the details. I think it has to be you got stuck getting searched at an airport in Cuba, because that has to happen somewhere. I just don't know if it happened in Cuba.
Okay. So you're going with that? Is that you're locking it in? I thought maybe you were going to say more there. I wasn't sure. You kind of trailed off there. So
yeah,
you are both wrong. I was detained in the Cuban airport by security, and it was one of the scariest moments of my life because when we flew to Cuba, it was before Cuba was open to the general world. So we went before that. We had to go through Panama and land in Cuba. And the Salvation Army in Cuba, because we were going on a trip for the Salvation Army, the Salvation Army in Cuba had our documents that would allow us into the country because we could not bring them with us. They had to get them from the government and present them at the airport when we got there. The problem is they weren't there when our plane landed and we got out into the airport. So we're standing on one side of a gate trying to explain that to people, and basically the security finally just says, like, we've had enough of this, and they put us all over on one wall in a corner, and we're like, you're gonna stay there until we sort this out. And I was like, I don't like this. This is not a good time. And I don't speak Spanish, so I was like,
people get shot against walls.
Somebody tell me what's going on. But we worked it out. I did walk around the entire Vatican because I couldn't find the entrance. And let me tell you,
how long of a walk is that?
Oh, it was like 4 hours. It was terrible. And it's not like one of those like casual strolls. It's like you're going up a giant hill mountain thing, and then you're going back down the giant hill mountain thing. And like, I felt like I was going to die in Rome.
How mad were you at yourself?
I was very mad because the problem is that the way that I came up to the Vatican, I basically came up on the east side of the Vatican or the west side of the Vatican. And so I never even saw the entrance when I came up. I came up to one of the giant walls on the side, just a little side street. And me and my innocence and, being naive was like, there's got to be tons of ways to get into this place, so I'll just keep walking until I find one. Nobody told me that they only have one entrance because the rest of it's like a super secret Pope sanctum, I don't know, so. And then the third story, Justin, you were right. It is all in the small details. That whole thing is 100% true, minus the fact that he did not harass me because I was American. He harassed me because he said I looked like a Jew. And that's a true story. So anti-Semitism still winning the day over there in London.
Outstanding.
Yeah, he was very upset with me because he said I looked like a Jew. And my friend Chris promptly got a taxi and was like, we should leave before this turns into something that it doesn't need to be. So
before he starts goose stepping?
Yeah, so it was pretty crazy times, but
let's get out of here.
You were right, it was in the details, but so yeah, okay. We're gonna move on to our third category.
Scores are pretty tight, by the way. I remember last time I was here.
Give us the scores.
Listen, I brought my A game this time.
Justin was not having a good night last time I joined y'all.
I
don't think I got a point until like the very end or something.
Yeah, I think you had like 2 points at the end of the game.
So
what's the score line looking?
Ben has 4 honest points because he fooled both of us that time, and a half a pity point. So he's got 4.5.
I love that.
That's a pity point.
Justin has 3 points.
Yep.
And I have 5 points.
Yep. So it's 4.5 to 5, and then Justin's just here. Is what you're telling me.
Hey, if he fools both of us with this question, he's got 5.
You're right.
Just like that.
Okay, so give us hobbies. Give us your 2 truths and a lie, Justin.
All right. Here we got a lot of video gaming, a lot of woodworking, and some movie buffing. That's right. I buff movies.
What?
DVDs. I buff them.
Just get on with it.
I did my Donald Trump face as well.
Yeah, don't do that. Just get on with the questions.
I have.
Okay.
No. All right, under my hobbies, number 1, I have just under 1,000 hours total played in World of Warcraft on a single account.
Easy.
That's too little. Next.
I nearly cut my hand off with a bandsaw, but my Fitbit caught the blade before it got serious. And here's the controversial one. I prefer The Hobbit to The Lord of the Rings. Don't at me.
Okay, I'm gonna
but
start
you like
the timer.
both. It's not that you dislike The Lord of the Rings.
Maybe it is.
First question that I have is, how did you say before it got serious? What do you mean by that in the second one?
Before I drew blood, bro.
Okay, but I'm trying to picture you using a saw, how a Fitbit would save you before you got cut.
So here's the thing. With a bandsaw, you know about a bandsaw,
Yep.
right? Single blade
Yep.
that you put around two
Yes.
spinny bits. And so there's a base plate and that is intersected by the blade.
The bandsaw goes through the base plate.
Yep.
Right. And so you push the material into the blade to make your cuts or whatever. And what had happened was I was doing a detailed piece, a figurine set.
Okay.
And I was doing a lot of detail work, so I was moving it in, moving it back, moving it in, moving it back, and I was doing a lot of this. And there was a piece of wood that got stuck right on the edge of the blade, and so I go to flick it off. Well, it stayed on the thing, and so I was trying to hold the piece with the thing still moving. I should have turned it off, but I go to move it, and I had slipped because my dog likes to sit right underneath my feet, and so I slipped and moved forward, and my hand right on the wrist goes towards the blade, and that's where it caught it.
Okay. Brian, you got any questions you want to ask?
I don't really see him like owning a Fitbit necessarily. And I'm not. That's not like a fat joke,
bro.
That's not a fat joke. I'm just saying,
tough,
like,
bro, that's tough. That came in real. That's
harsh. The part you got hung up on, huh?
Well, you've been
got a Fitbit. Look at him.
You've been calling Ben on the details this whole time, and so I'm curious.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like you're not the Apple Watch type either. I'm not saying anything about that. I'm just saying, like, I'm not really sure that you would be wearing a fitness tracker while you're doing your woodworking. It's more believable that you're doing the woodworking than wearing a fitness tracker, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I have a hard time with 1 and 3. The first reason I have a hard time with the first one is the amount of time. Because I could very easily see him having more than 1,000 hours on a character in World of Warcraft.
Well,
knowing how much he's played.
That's on a single account.
No, I understand that.
I have 3 accounts.
Okay, I understand that. But you've been playing the game since like 2001 or 4.
Nope.
2004.
Nope.
Okay.
2008.
Well, I mean, that's not true.
That's still 12 years.
Yeah, that's still 12 years. 1,000 hours is not... Okay, and then the third one, I can see... Because we've talked a lot about Lord of the Rings, we've talked a lot about J.R. Tolkien. I know that you like the Silmarillion better than the Lord of the Rings. But do you like the Hobbit?
We're talking about
the movies.
That's what I said. We're talking about video games, woodworking, and movies. My 3 biggest hobbies.
Okay.
So you like the Hobbit?
I won't pull the cloth over your eyes.
You like the Hobbit movies more than the Lord of the Rings movies?
All 3 of the ooh. Okay. Well, I feel like that one's a lie then, because like, I think a lot of people have a soft spot for the Hobbit book, but the Hobbit movies were okay.
I'm going with number 1. I know that I'm not going to get it right, but I'm going with number 1.
I gotta go number 3. I'm gonna be mad if it's number 2 because you didn't have a Fitbit, you jerk.
It's gonna be that one, dude. Look at his face, bro.
I'm going with number 2. I'm gonna stick with number 2. I'm sticking with my instinct.
Okay. Locking in number 2.
Locking in number 2.
Locking in number 1.
Yeah.
All right. So, the first truth is that I do prefer all 3 Hobbit movies to all 3 Lord of the Rings movies.
Do you know why I didn't
dodge that one?
Do you know why I didn't go with that? Because I agree with that. Wholeheartedly. Yeah. I agree with that.
As far as movies go. As far as movies go.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch them. They weren't up there for me.
Yeah, no, it's Silmarillion, Lord of the Rings, and then The Hobbit as far as books go. But for the movies, I prefer... Because visuals are a big part to me. I didn't have a problem with all the added BS, all that kind of stuff that people were upset about.
Okay.
The second truth is that I did, in fact, stop a bandsaw with a Fitbit that I do own.
It's gotta be
Brian.
It's gotta be number 1.
Freaking jerk.
I am a jerk.
The lie is number 1 because, in fact, and my wife was a little upset about this when I told her what it was. I actually have on one account.
Yeah.
I have 2,944 hours total on all of the characters there and that's only the characters that I have not deleted.
Yeah.
So that's characters I still play, and I did the math, and it's over 122 days of played on one account.
So, out of curiosity, can you reread your number one question and how you phrased it? Because I want to make sure. You said 1,000 hours, and I was too low.
I have just under 1,000 hours.
I knew that was not true. And why
you said it, you would have said from the get-go, and I was so mad at you.
Why I knew that is because
it's gotta be more than that.
I know how many hours I put into one account on RuneScape. So I know that you
probably beat me on that.
Well,
you probably played RuneScape way more than I played WoW.
I have now an 18-year cape on RuneScape. That's how long I've played RuneScape.
Yeah.
They literally have a tracker for you. So
weird flex, bro.
It's not a weird flex. It's the best, dopest flex in the world. Okay.
The best, dopest flex. Can we name that our video?
No.
Can that be the title?
So. The best,
weird,
dopest flex.
The best, dopest flex. No, but I knew there was you would have had to have had more hours.
And that's the reason I didn't pick that one, because I was like, it's at least that well. So you phrased it well, because I was like, I knew it was at least 1,000 hours, because that's not hard.
Originally, I was going to make that a truth, but that's too true. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's no shot I passed that as a truth. Yeah. So the only play I had was to make it sound less than.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, worked on me, and that made the scores. That was the optimum way to tie things up, because now Ben has 5, I have 5, and you have 4.
Yep.
So.
All right.
Tight.
It's got to make a game.
I have 5.5. Here. It's okay though that you didn't want to give me the half now that I'm tied up.
Hey, it's there. You got 5.5. It's going to be a pity win, and I know that you don't want to win on a pity win. So
I love to win.
I'm respecting your honor.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
I'll win no matter what way I can take it.
Did I lose? Nope. I'm a winner.
All right, Brian. Over to you with hobbies.
Hobbies. Number 1. I have won every season of fantasy football I have played. This is NFL football. Okay. Fantasy football I've played. Number 2, I have never owned a PlayStation.
Okay.
Number 3, I have been paid as a commercial voiceover artist.
Okay, let me start the timer. First question.
Why you gotta come at me like that?
I got this one, Justin. Let me ask the first question, because I know it'll help you, because I know you know nothing about sports. Who was your quarterback and who was your running back for the last few seasons?
For the last few seasons, so the first season that I played, I had Matty Ice.
Okay.
Matt Ryan.
Yep.
The next season,
just quarterbacks.
Just quarterback. The next season, I had. So here's a little bit of insight into my strategy. Mm-hmm. I don't care about quarterback as much, because even the worst quarterbacks aren't as bad as the worst running backs are bad.
Okay.
So I really prioritize running backs because they still score enough points to stay up there. So I probably can't even recount, but I could go through the app and figure it out.
Who was your running back last season? Just last season.
Last season?
Yeah.
Let's see. I had... Who did I have? Did I have Todd Gurley?
Mm-hmm. Do you have a rollover season, or do you have a draft? Do you have a rollover league or a draft league?
Draft league. Snake draft.
Okay.
No keepers.
Justin, your turn to ask a question.
What? Oh, sorry.
Sports put him to sleep. Sports ball.
What was the other two?
I've never owned a PlayStation.
And a voiceover artist.
I've been paid as a voiceover artist.
Why haven't you owned a PlayStation?
More interested in Xbox and Nintendo and PC. Just haven't ever owned a PlayStation.
I'm ready to lock in my answer. I'm going with number 1. I think that's the lie.
Okay.
And I'm okay to be wrong on this. I want that to go on the record. I'm okay.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes.
Please.
What role did you do for voice acting that you got paid for?
It was an outdoor furniture company, and it was like IKEA type names, so they were really hard to pronounce, but I had to say the name of the outdoor furniture, and then I had to say like weather resistant and blah 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 blah, like just kind of give details about what material they were made out of, what paint color and style and stuff like that.
I'm going number 1 as well, and I'm just gonna ride on.
I think Brian's gonna win off of
this. I'm gonna ride on your 18 RuneScape coattails.
No, don't do that. I'm okay to be wrong on this one. I want that to go on the record. If I lose the game, why
were you so sure then? I was 100% going with your answer.
I'll explain it to you once I hear what his truths and lies are.
All right, everybody's locking in number one.
Yes.
So the first truth is I have never owned a PlayStation.
I knew that.
I had friends who owned PlayStations, and I would just go to their houses and play. The second truth is I was paid in college to do a voiceover for outdoor furniture.
I knew it, dude.
So the best I have ever done in fantasy football is second place.
Okay.
I have not won a single time.
Okay. So here's why I knew. This is where my confidence came in. If you had won every single fantasy league that you'd played in, I would be giving you $30 under the table to make sure that I won money off of you next season. Okay?
Well, let's do it.
Because
let's go. Second place is not bad.
I have never met somebody in my life who has won every season of their fantasy football. Just the odds on that. And then when you said it's a draft, not a rollover, then I was 100% convinced. Because if it was a rollover and you had somebody like Patrick Mahomes and you had somebody like, Todd Gurley or an Ezekiel Elliott that rolled over into the next season, that would literally mean you would have a chance of winning every year. As long
I
as
thought you were going to say
picks,
if I had Patrick Mahomes,
Justin Felsen,
then it was more realistic. I'm like, he's brand new, bro. He wouldn't have rolled over into my team.
No.
Ezekiel Elliott is a football player that I'm aware of his existence.
Yeah, I tried to use one that you knew. Dallas Cowboys. Let's go, boys. All right.
That's true.
But yeah.
Well done, guys.
Appreciate that.
You found me out.
Yes.
So I absolutely have to get this right.
You have to get it right. And Ben is sitting on 6 points, legit 6.5 with his pity points. So we both have to find him out. Otherwise, he wins.
Okay.
And if you get it right and I find him out too, then you win. I can't win.
Okay.
Big point, baby!
So.
For all the marbles.
Here we go. Number one. I own an original first edition holographic Gyarados Pokemon card. Or Gyarados, if you call it that. Number two. I own the comic that was the first appearance of Wonder Woman. So she first appeared in this comic book. That's a weird phrasing. Number three. I had my car broken into, and all the thief stole was my Yu-Gi-Oh cards and my worn Adidas soccer shoes.
Bro, I'm going to tell you, that person, if that's true, that was one of your friends who knew what your cards were.
So I'll start your timer if you guys are ready and you have any questions.
Do you know the market value of a Gyarados card that you claim to own?
I don't. So my guess would be somewhere in the 800 to 900 range, because that's a lot of the first edition Pokemon cards of that time are maybe around that. It could be lower because I know Charizard's the one that everybody wants. First edition Charizard cards are the ones that everybody wants, but I don't know it. I don't know the price on it. Any other questions?
What is the comic book issue that you own of Wonder Woman?
All-Star Comics number 8 is the number. All-Star Comics number 8.
Nope.
Of
the Yu-Gi-Oh cards,
yes.
Did you lose any that you were really broken up about?
I was really broken about all of them because I had 2 of those black box type things that you keep all the cards in, and I had probably 5 or 6 decks in there, that you could actually go and play with. And so a lot of them were the newer type stuff, the more I don't know what they're called. They're they had a black front on them. Where all the old school Yu-Gi-Oh cards had the brown front. These were black on the front. I don't know how to explain it. And then I lost a few Dark Magicians, old school Dark Magicians. But
that's a card I know about.
I was really disappointed to lose all of them because that was my whole collection, and I'm not going to go out and buy
Blue Eyes White Dragon.
I didn't have a Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Did you have any pieces of Exodia?
No, I traded all 5 of my Exodia pieces for
all 5.
Yeah, in high school, and regretted it instantly. So, yeah.
What do you think of Brian?
I don't know. We got to guess the same thing. That's the only way that you can win.
See, I don't believe that the Wonder Woman's correct because I don't remember him talking about it. I know he has the first one of Daredevil.
Yeah, I feel like that one might be the first appearance of Spider-Man or Daredevil or something
on that. One?
What?
Are you sure on that one? First appearance of Daredevil, are you sure? Yo, hit me up in the comment section if you have a first appearance of Daredevil so I can get it off of you.
I feel like he's playing
I would
because he
love
looked
to have
at the
that
wall
comic.
and everything, like it's right up there.
Well, the reason is because I have 4 comics framed on my wall right
What do you have? What do you have on the wall right now?
I've got the All-Star number 8. I've got Batman 31 signed. I've got Fantastic Four: A Death in the Family, which was my first comic, and I've got Batman 32 signed.
No shot. It's the comic book one.
All right.
I'm going with you. I'm gonna let you take both of our votes.
No, he doesn't have Gyarados. He doesn't. There's no shot. No, I don't know. Literally, the entire game rides on both of us getting the right answer.
I love Justin's. He's second guessing himself over and over, and
he's
like creating some type of like brain aneurysm right now.
I keep psyching myself.
First.
Is the vein showing up in my forehead?
Okay.
What'd you say, Brian?
He said worst to first.
Worst to first.
What's it gonna be? Lock in your answers, boys.
I feel like the comic book one is probably just the first appearance of somebody else. It's not Wonder Woman.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's like Spider-Man or something like that, you know.
Again, if you have a first appearance of Spider-Man, can you, Brian, look up?
Hit me up.
Go ahead and let me know what a first appearance of Spider-Man costs, and then you tell me if I have that comic.
Well, I'm not Googling. I'm not cheating. I can figure that out.
Okay, I can tell you. It's anywhere between $15,000 and $60,000. So if I had that comic, I would consider retiring and then have to go to work in 20 years.
On $15,000 to $16,000?
$15,000 to $60,000.
Still not retirement money.
It is for me.
Be living on McDonald's in a hut.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
But yeah, if you do have that comic and you'd like to ship it to me, I would love to have that. I'll put it on the.
You're a little low. You're just a tad off. You said 60,000.
Yeah. How much is it?
It's about 950,000 more than that.
Depends on what the mint is. Depends on what the number, like the.
It says Spider-Man's first appearance sells for $1.1 million.
Depends on the grading. If it's like a 9.9 or a 10, then absolutely.
Here's a used one for 30 grand.
Yeah, if it's like a 3.5 or 4.5, it's around.
Besides the point.
Yeah, it is besides the point.
I'm going Gyarados. It's got to be.
All right.
I'm gonna kick myself.
You guys locking it in?
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
I feel like
I hate your face. I need you to change your face.
I can't fix
Ben's
my
excited.
face,
Ben
bro.
wins.
So mad, dude.
I did win. I appreciate you.
Is it the Wonder Woman?
Yeah, it's the Wonder Woman.
I knew it was. Dang it.
I do own an original first edition holographic Gyarados. It's my first Pokemon card ever. It's worth, Brian, to answer your question, I don't know what it's worth because mine's worth nothing. Because it's the first good Pokemon card I ever owned, and it looks like it's gone through a shredder or something. Like the front of it's really torn up because I didn't take good care of it. I did have my car broken into, and all the thief stole was all my Yu-Gi-Oh cards and my worn Adidas shoes. So if you could give me those back, I'd appreciate that. And I lied. I have the first appearance of Black Panther on the wall.
It, dude. I should have gone first. I could have won a thing.
It was so close. Instead, you tied me at the losers bracket.
That one's tough. That one
was rough.
I really thought, I want you to know, I really thought I gave myself away when you asked me to say what was on the wall. And here's why. Because I couldn't remember what comic it was that she was in. Yeah. So I was like, All-Star number 8.
Is it the number 8? It's her first one?
Yeah, I did look it up just to make sure I had the right comic book because I didn't know. Well, I don't know why you would know that, but it's also one of those things that you have to know if you're going to lie about what the comic is. So, yeah, All-Star Comics number 8. So,
dude, I'm so gutted.
But again, if you're listening to this and you're in the comics, if you've got the first appearance of Daredevil or Amazing Spider-Man and you want to just ship that to my house, just leave a comment and we'll make sure it gets to where it needs to go. It'll go right up there on the wall with the other
Send it to me. Send it to me and I will tear it up on this podcast.
Ooh.
Can you imagine doing that and wasting that much money for yourself? Because genuinely, like that.
Can you imagine how viral we would go?
Can you imagine how
we would be famous today?
Can you imagine how quickly I would find a new podcast host? I'd be like, anybody. We'll take anybody at this point. Like, if you're 95 years old in the nursing home, we'd love to have you. Attempted Optimism Podcast is looking for a new host.
You know what, though? That actually sounds like a legit idea for a podcast.
That would be a great podcast.
Let's just find a senile old man.
No, okay, we're going to move on. Brian, hit us with the final score tally. Hit us with the final score tally. Tell us where we ended up.
Ben, you almost had it there. You fell off right at the end. I think I surged into the lead right there at the end. I took
glad
a
to hear it, buddy.
victory.
Cheers to you, Brian. Good job. GG's.
Here's the lesson before you
cashed in all your points for a Spurs win today, and I do appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You know what? I appreciate that as well. You can have the win because of that. No, I just want this to be said before you give the scoreboard. This is a lesson in why you don't trust Justin. This is why you don't follow his lead. Because
what do you mean? I had the correct instinct.
Not only did he lose, but he made Brian lose because Brian went with Justin's answer.
Brian was going to lose one way or the other.
But anyway,
he was only helping me win.
Hit us with the scoreboard.
Tied for second place. What a scoreboard. Justin and I both had 5 points.
Okay.
And in first place was Ben with a legitimate 8 points and one pity, woe is me half point that he demanded getting in the middle because he was lied to a week before we knew we were going to do this.
That's not a pity point. That's a true friendship hurt point. Because my heart was hurt.
Not really, because I'm stupid and didn't remember. And two, we didn't know we were doing this until like 2:00 this afternoon.
That's what you say, but we've had it on the list for 2 weeks.
We had it on the list. We have 7 other ideas on the list, bro.
That hurts my soul.
In fact, I asked you, I said, hey, are we doing that other thing that we were going to do today? And you were like, I kind of want to do 2 truths and a lie.
Anyways, we thank you for listening. Brian, thanks for coming on again for 2 Truths and a Lie Reloaded.
Happy to be here.
Brian always brings us great content and fun. Justin's convinced he's going to win next time. So I think next time,
he's got it.
I've already had this in my brain. Next time, we do 2 lies and a truth to see if you can figure out what the truth is. Well, and that's why I say that, because Brian messed up and then gave me the idea, and I was like, that would be a really good time, trying to find what the one truth is out of...
Let's do it, but backwards.
Let's do it that way. Yeah. So thank you for listening. Make sure you like, subscribe if you want to share. We appreciate that. And we hope to see you next week for another episode. I'm telling you right now, I'm muting that part. It's going to just be me muted. He does this every time now. Every podcast. It's like some type of terrible thing that nobody wants. But he does anyways. So I'm just going to mute that section, so there's going to be a big blank space at the end. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Brian, you got any final words for us?
If anyone is still listening after all that, I love y'all to death. You're beautiful.
Exactly. I appreciate that.